Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
I'm the Flameclaw.
And I'm Richy.
And welcome to the Hellfire Comms playthrough of Sonic Riders. This is a bit of a strange one for me, because while I have very vague memories of playing the demo on the PS2, never actually played through Riders myself properly, the full game and whatnot, which makes it one of the very rare Sonic playthroughs where I haven't had direct experience with the game. So Flame, why is this our next playthrough pick, mate?
Well, as well as being one of the 3D games we haven't got to yet, because we've been doing a lot of 2D stuff lately, this one is also a huge change of pace, both from Sonic games themselves and also from the racing mascot racer sort of genre as well, because as you can tell by this absolutely beautiful opening cutscene, this game stars our Sonic cast on hoverboards, or extreme gear as they're known. So if you're going into this expecting your Mario Kart clone, then that's not what you're going to come away with. And that's probably the best way to sum it up off the bat, really.
Indeed. This released in 2006 alongside, Sonic 06 and also Sonic Genesis, and given that this game got very mixed reviews, you could say that 06 was not a very good year for Sonic, but I know Riders has its fair share of fans, so I'm going to hold off on critiquing things, because, like I said, I haven't played it all the way through. I don't think it will be very fair for me to give it a proper critique, but style-wise, Riders is well up there in the Sonic pantheon. I mean, just the music style, the visual style, it's, like Flame said, a breath of fresh air for the franchise. Even if it doesn't reach the heights of Mario Kart, it's at least trying something a little bit different. And, racing game playthrough. So, expect the commentary to be very hither and thither as we grasp at stuff to talk about, but thank God this game has a story mode in which we can see not just who can win a race, but who is the fastest to win that race.
This is true. Also, can I just say, Flame, you did a phenomenal job on getting a really high quality recording of this game. I was watching it on YouTube and just thinking, oh, God, this looks incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That took some doing, yeah.
Yeah, normally when you're doing games of this age, they tend to be a little bit murky unless you're going via emulator. But also, the CGI, as per in most Sonic titles, pretty damn good, although that lip syncing, and I suppose that model doesn't look necessarily as smooth as I thought it did do, but it's still a cool set piece.
Also, giant hands for some reason.
Yeah, really lanky body, giant hands. But hey, it's not like Sonic wasn't used to being incredibly misshapen at this point in time. See Sonic 06 model.
Yeah, it's not the best. They dubbed him Long Sonic for a reason. Anywho, the developers for this are Sonic Team and Sonic Team USA. The designer was Kenjiro Morimoto, obviously published by Sega. We got it in March of 2006. The other countries or locales got it in February. I don't know. Maybe they just had to add a bunch of views for the European release.
So the other developer on it was Now Production as well. Hilariously, part of Sonic's 15th anniversary, so fitting that we're doing this in Sonic's 30th anniversary.
Oh, no, I'm turning to dust!
But also, it was the first Sonic racing game since Sonic R.
Mm-hmm.
Quite fitting, obviously, then, that you have the Sonic R-Iders as the title. Yeah,
for sure. So, I know I heard the voice of Jason Griffith come out of this freakish thing, so you want to tell us a little bit about the new characters in the game, Flame?
Well, we will be doing the hero story before we get to their story proper, but we've just been introduced to the Babylon Rogues. So you got Jet the Hawk, Wave the Swallow, and Storm the Albatross. They're not bad characters, they don't really bring that much, but in fairness, that's because this is a very short and very simple kind of plot. They would reappear in Zero Gravity and then Free Riders, where they got, I wouldn't necessarily say fleshed out, but they got a few more appearances at least.
Oh my god.
Yes, there's the line.
It's just so iconic. Also, I love how when it was showcasing Sonic back there, it had stock art from Heroes and stock footage of Sonic from, I guess, SADX.
This is one thing Like, I know everyone ever who's covered Sonic 06 has ripped it apart for having the massive jump between these amazingly high quality CGI cutscenes and then this sort of shitty engine. I would say that this is probably on the same level of that dissonance there. To be fair, this is a GameCube, PS2, Xbox era game, so when you've got stuff going in the engine, it's not going to be the most polished thing ever. But God, there are some rough edges.
X-World Grand Prix, huh?
I do want to stress that I am playing the Xbox version of this game via the Xbox 360's backward compatibility, which it works via emulation, and there are some quirks through the cutscenes in particular. Thankfully, it doesn't affect gameplay, but you will see what I mean when I say this makes it the definitive version of Sonic Riders to me.
Oh, I can't wait.
Can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you may be wondering, who are those robots, racing with us? They're actually the E1000 series.
Yes, they are your filler racers to start with until we get more characters in context, although they do continue showing up throughout the game as your opponent racers.
Actually, I tell a lie, the E1000 series was the SA1 robots, Gamma's brothers. These are the E10000 series, which strangely look like egg pawns. I don't think you put much design ethic into this particular batch.
Well, these are fucking ray colours, let's be real.
Yeah, I saw that pop in. I'm beginning to see what you mean, mate. But enough talk about graphics and whatnot. Tell us a bit about how the game controls, because this is one of the things it got criticised for.
Well, it's fair to say that this is one of the most divisive mascot races of all time. And that is because it's got a very steep learning curve in terms of just getting a feel for the gameplay. There's a lot of mechanics going on at once, and it is very much a filter for new players, because on the hoverboards, like just moving around, the basics are what you'd expect, but there are a lot of mechanics to bear in mind. So let's try and break it down a little bit, and you'll see what I mean. So we have the air mechanic. You can see the little meter on the right. That's something that races can be won or lost depending on whether you run out of air at a inconvenient time.
Yeah, it's just like real life, really. Run out of air, you lose.
Well, yeah, but you've also got, see Sonic grinding there. Each of the characters have their own character class, so you get speed characters who can grind rails, you've got flight characters who can go through them green rings in the sky, and power characters that can punch through objects. So part of the game is learning where the shortcuts are for your particular racer.
Right.
You've also just got like your drifting. It's easier said than done, as you see me bumping onto the walls there. Bumping onto the walls, I will stress that's a valid strategy. It works for me.
Well, I mean, Cobham Zero Gravity, they had a mechanic where you could like stop mid-air and like do a 90-degree turn to the left or right, and I appreciated that when I was doing the quick look, let me tell you.
Though I will say, I think I've grown to prefer the manual drifting this game has on the whole. Like, I have played Zero Gravity, but not to the extent I have this game, and here we're seeing an example of what I mean by the emulation. Look at these beautiful shadows.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that's even better.
Don't tell me you've signed up too.
So, Richy, what's your history with Riders, mate? Are you in a similar boat to myself?
Very much so. I'm pretty sure that I watched the run that we did during the Sonic-a-thon, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. So, I only really know about it in the context of vaguely having seen bits and bobs of it throughout the time, and I have to say, it doesn't look like the type of racing game that really makes me happy. I think, yeah, just the core gameplay loop just looks a little bit too overly complex from a starting point, and it just seems very rubber bandy as well, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it, and so I'm just like, yeah, I will steer clear of this one. But from what I remember, it has a pretty fun story, short as it is. I mean, I love the fact that they're just like, yes, let's go into the Tower of Babel and Babylon and all of that for our story. It's just like, Like, you've done some slightly religious stuff in the past, but this is getting a little bit close to real religion.
Well, it got close to real religion in Secret Rings. He called forth, like, an Ifrit and was talking about Iblis and whatnot, which is the fucking devil.
It's true. It's very true.
According to the Cutter-Joukowski lift theorem, the
That causes me right now.
This is one of the more iconic cutscenes. There's a very cartoonish vein of humour running throughout Riders, which I think makes up for a lot of the clunkiness in the gameplay. You get to these cutscenes, you just have a good time, really.
Huh? That gear's unusual.
Unless, of course, your shadow has been stolen and it's just a white mass, and then you wonder what the point of it all was, really.
They're not going to fall through the floor at least, so I'll give it that.
At least that's something.
Well, I never imagined
With these sorts of things, as long as, you've got a story mode that's just fun and light, that is all you really need. I mean, obviously, a lot of racing games don't need a story mode to succeed, but I don't think I've ever been mad yet at a game franchise or series that has had a genre that's slightly different to the norm. So, like a fighting game or party game or racing game that has had a story mode that because what it does is it gives you an opportunity to learn how the game works.
Yeah, exactly.
And learn it in sort of a more structured context before you start, playing against other humans. And also, as long as, it's fun and delightful, you should be A-okay. From what I remember, though, the requirements for getting through the story mode on Riders are a little bit harsh at times. I seem to recall there being certain levels where it's more than a little bit mean on what it requires and your ability to actually succeed at progressing.
Alright, let's not sugarcoat it, this game is fucking brutal.
Well, we're playing as Tails now, so obviously it's a shift you among Team Sonic as we go through. And I gotta say, I was talking about the hero stock art earlier. Flame described that there's a speed, a flight, and a power character. This just seems to be taking cues from heroes and putting it into a racing context.
This game keeps me far more engaged than Heroes does, so, it may be a bit of a step up there, but it does kind of carry on that sort of vein. Obviously, we've got the character redesigns, which I do really like the redesigns. I know it was a bit contentious at the time because, we've got these characters that they're just settled on kind of a firm final design with Heroes, and then it's, now they're totally radical, which, I'm cool with that, although I can see that it's something prime for hack jobs to make fun of,
I guess so. I think this works better overall than Boom, because this, like you said, is just, some rad sports equipment and whatnot. You've got, the hoverboards, you've got, the crazy shoes and whatnot, and it just works a lot better than changing basic features like making Sonic's arms blue, which honestly I don't really have a problem with, especially in the movie. Making Knuckles super top heavy, which I thought was a bit weird. He was already strong. That was kind of the point of the character, that he's the same size as Sonic, but he's fucking powerful. You don't need to do that through the actual, physical character design beyond the Knuckles. And, obviously Amy has a more sporty kind of look, and overall, I think, the aesthetic and the music, etc., are the strong points of the game, so no problems there whatsoever.
I mean, I have to say also, with me looking at these character designs, I look at them and go, yes, that works. I think half the problem whenever you do come to redesigning a character is you've got to hit that line between looking enough like the original design to be fully recognisable and to make sense, but different enough that it's sort of unique and fits in with the whole vibe of what you're going for. And obviously with Riders, these are just sort of slightly stretched designs, but other than that, they are quintessentially still the designs that we know and love. Whereas when you got to Boom, it was just oh, that's a bit different, and it was such a shift that you kind of go, you've got to do the sort of readjusting to get used to it. Same with movie Sonic, although obviously the upgraded movie Sonic was a lot better in terms of being closer to the original Sonic design.
I still have nightmares about the stand-in puppet they used with the original design.
I know, it's pretty horrifying, and basically is, you know, the proof that to anybody that thought that it was the whole redesigning Sonic was a ruse, because if it was a ruse they would have used, you know, different Sonic in the as the puppet, but they did not. So you know exactly what they're aiming for until they realised what a bad idea that was.
Oh yeah, the original design was absolutely designed by committee, wasn't it? But this is amusing to me because this is basically Dan Green having a fight with Dan Green.
Yeah, essentially. Oh man, it's kind of making me nostalgic for this period of Sonic, honestly. And yeah, I don't think Dan Green, after this iteration of Knuckles, would voice a lot of characters due to some personal tragedies in his life. But he did come back to voice Yugi and Yami Yugi in Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions, which was pretty cool. I'm not sure if he's still currently retired, but God bless him all the same. So, we've got Knuckles here, and obviously speed and flight kind of speak for themselves gameplay-wise. You know, Sonic can go fast, Tails can go through the flying rings. How does Knuckles and, like, Storm, the Albatross, is that her name?
Yeah.
How do they affect the stages, per se?
Well, the power characters gimmick is that they can easily punch through certain obstacles, which means that they do have shortcuts, but more importantly, for me at least, is that where crashing into certain hazards with other characters would slow you down, they just keep going and they get a little boost of air from it as well.
Ah.
It just gives them that extra bit of strength to just keep on going straight. And I know a lot of people do say that they prefer playing as the power characters because of that. For me, I do like stick to the speed characters when I have a choice, but I like the grinding. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, something someone has never said when it comes to insert RPG here, which is bad. Look, I don't play a lot of RPGs beyond the obvious of Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon, alright? I am a pleb.
Grinding can be comfortable in turn-based RPGs at least.
You know, you pop on a soundtrack and you're good to go. And speaking of the Sonic Riders soundtrack, I got the information here. Oh yeah, I'm keeping track and whatnot. Composed by Tomonori Sawada, Kenichi Tokoi, and Fumi Kumatane. And I gotta be honest, these guys don't really ring a bell for me. But one name that does stick out is Runobi, the guys who did the Sonic Speed Riders and Catch Me If You Can vocal songs for the game. You might recognise the name Runobi because they also perform stuff for Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Yeah, Runobi did the Secret Ring soundtrack, and they're also the announcer for the Olympic Winter Games DS game, which I remember particularly because whenever they said the word Olympic, it sounded like they were just saying Olympic.
Yeah, that's one very soft O right there, but overall I got no complaints with the soundtrack. It matches the whole tone they're trying to set, and you know, having something a bit more sporty to match the racing genre, you know, it worked. Again, visually, sound-wise, no problems whatsoever. It just comes down to the rather fiddly controls and okay level design, I suppose, that lets riders down overall. Wow, this was a short playthrough. We covered everything in just under 19 minutes.
Well, the next 3 parts are gonna be fun.
Ooh, maybe we'll have to move that Sonic Central discussion up to part 2, I suppose. But yeah, good stuff, Flame, good stuff. Great first part in terms of racing and whatnot. We'll see you next time when the Sonic Riders playthrough continues here at Hellfire Comms.